This conference will now be recorded.
ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। Namaste. We will now see the meaning of the namas that are present in the 29th verse of Shri Vishnu Sahasranama based on the Bhashya, the commentary of Shri Shankaracharya. Now we will look at the verse first. Subhujo Durdharo Bhagmi Mahendro Vasudo Vasuhu Naikarupo Brihadrupaha Shipivishtah Prakashanaha. The namas herein are Subhujaha, Durdharaha, Vagmi, Mahendraha, Vasudaha, Vasuhu, Naikarupaha, Brihadrupaha, Shipivishtaha, Prakashanaha. So there are 10 namas in this 29th verse. Now let us see the meaning of each of this nama. The first nama is Subhujaha, Shobhanaha, Bhujaha, Jagadrakshakaraha, Asyeti. The one who has beautiful arms that protect the world. So Subhuja, Bhuja refers to the arms. Su refers to Shobhana, beautiful, wonderful. So by their form, the very form, Chaturbhujas, the four arms of the Bhagavan are uh, beautiful and wonderful to look at, to meditate upon, and they are more beautiful because Jagad Rakshakaraha, they are always there to protect the entire universe. So Subhuja is a term that is worth to be remembered when there is a sense of fear, kind of anxiety. So Subhuja, there are the arms of the Bhagavan to protect us. So that reassurance we gain by contemplating, by thinking of the meaning of the name of Lord Narayana, Subhujaha. The next term is Durdharaha. There are a couple of meanings to this term. Let's first consider the first meaning. Prithivyaadinyapi लोकधारकाण्यन्यैः धारयितुम् अशक्यानि धारयन् न केनचित् धारयितुं शक्यः इति दुर्धरः. So the meaning is the one who supports earth and others that are very difficult to be supported by others, and he himself being unsupportable by others. So here Durdharaha. So Dharaha, Dharati, Dharayati means who supports or holds. And Durdharaha means very difficult to support. So Acharya explains that the earth and other entities, they support lives. For example, the earth, the Bhumi Mata, supports the Jivatmans and all the lives on on themselves. And Ananta and others and the Diggajas, they support the Prithvi and the Lokas. And Narayana, Lord Narayana, he supports these. the Prithvi, Ananta, Nagaraja, Adishesha, and the Diggajas. Prithvyadinyapi lokadharakani anyaihi dharayitum ashakyani. So these, the earth, the Ananta Naga or the Shesha Naga or the Adishesha, the Diggajas, these support lives, innumerable lives, but these, the earth and others, cannot be supported or held by any other entity other than Paramatman. So they are being supported by the Paramatman, and hence he is Durdharaha. That which are unsupportable by any others, he is supporting. So it is upon him, he is the substratum upon which all these exist, and hence the Paramatman is Durdharaha. Further, as the Paramatman is the substratum supporting the earth, the Adishesha and the Diggajas, he himself is unsupportable by any other entity. Hence also he is Durdharaha. So by doing an amazing or a feat which cannot be done by anyone else, that of supporting all the entities, like great entities like Prithvi, Ananta and Diggajas, he is Durdhara, the one who is doing the very difficult job, Durdhara, of holding or supporting. And he himself is unsupportable. There cannot be any other substratum which can hold this Paramatman, and hence he is again Durdhara, who cannot be the one who cannot be supported by any other substratum. So such is the greatness of the Paramatman, which is brought about by the first interpretation, Durdharaha. There is another very interesting meditative interpretation to this term. Dukhena dhyana samaye mumukshubhihi hridaye dharyata iti va durdharaha. The one who is held in the heart with great difficulty during meditation by those desirous or those desiring liberation. So previously it was in the physical realm. Now it comes to a meditative plane where Durdhara, Dhara means holding, and Durdhara, Duhkena, it's very difficult to hold. It's very difficult to hold. Dukhena dharyate. It is with great difficulty that his form, his nature, his greatness is held. Where? Hridaye, in the heart. When? Dhyana samaye, during meditation. By whom? By mumukshubhihi, by those who desire liberation, by those who desire moksha. So the one whose form is very difficult to comprehend or to focus upon during the meditation of those who are desirous of liberation. So such is the sukshma nature of the Paramatman, or the all-encompassing nature, the great nature or the subtle nature of the Paramatman, which is very difficult to be focused upon in the heart, but with great effort, with Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, and so many other tools that are given in the Vedanta Shastra and Yoga Shastra, Duhkena, by undergoing all those strenuous steps, meticulous steps, he can be held in the heart by the meditators. So the one to behold whose form in the heart, the meditators have to undergo a lot of strain and pain and undergo a lot of disciplining. So the point here is the one whose form can be beheld or can be meditated upon only by those who have disciplined themselves by accepting various strenuous disciplines. So such is the nature of Paramatman. To attain, to meditate upon his form, we have to work hard. So that idea is also indicated by the term durdharaha, kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. That's what in Bhagavad Gita Shri Krishna says, adhikataraha kleshaha avyakta sakta chetasam adhikataraha kleshaha. To behold the very subtle form of the Paramatman, one has to undergo all these difficulties. Only a dhira, only a dhairya samanvita, kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshat. So this Atman cannot be reached by those who are bereft of strength. Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. Hence, one has to strengthen oneself, make strenuous efforts, discipline oneself to realize that Paramatman. So that idea at a meditative plane is also given by the term Durdharaha. The third nama is Vagmi. Yato nisrita brahmamayi vak tasmat Vagmi. The one from whom speech in the form of the Vedas emerged. So Vak, speech. Vagmi, the source of speech. Uh, an excellent source of speech is indicated by the term Vagmi. What kind of speech does the Paramatman possess? Or what kind of speech emerges, emanates, manifests from the Paramatman? Brahmamayi. Brahma here refers to the Vedas or Jnanamayi. So the Vedas, which are full of knowledge, such Vedic speech emerges from the Paramatman. Being the source of such speech, the Paramatman is glorified as Vagmi. The next term is Mahendraha. Mahamshchasavindrascheti Mahendraha. Ishwaranamapi Ishwaraha. The one who is the great Lord, endowed with great powers, the Lord of even the gods. So, in the term Mahendra, there are two components: Maha Indra, Mahan Indra. So, here Indra refers to Idi Paramaishwarye, the one who is endowed with powers, and the Mahan amplifies that. So Indra may refers to the gods or divinities who are endowed with powers, and the Mahan here indicates that he is a great divinity. So Ishwaranamapi Ishwaraha, the God or the Lord of even the gods. So the great, supreme, ultimate divinity. So that is indicated by the term Mahendraha. The next term is Vasudaha. Vasu, Dhanam, Dadatiti, Vasudaha. The one who gives Vasu, wealth. So here in this term, there are two components, Vasu and Da. Vasu is described by Acharya as Dhanam. Dhanam is wealth, and Da is Dadati. So the one who grants the wealth. So previously also the term Vrishabha, Varshati, Bhaktanam, Kaman, iti Vrishabha. The same idea is repeated by this term Vasudaha, the one who showers wealth. uh, to this term, Acharya quotes from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Annado Vasudanaha. So the Lord is described in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad as Vasudanaha, the one who grants wealth. The sixth nama is Vasuhu. There are a few meanings or interpretations to this term. Let us consider one by one. The first interpretation, Diyamanam tadvaswapi sa eveti va vasuhu. The one who is also the wealth that is being granted. Previously, in the previous term, we saw Vasudaha. So Bhagavan grants wealth. He gives wealth. It is clarified by Acharya in this term that the wealth itself is not separate from the Paramatman. Diyamanam tad vasvapi sayeva iti va vasuhu. The wealth that is being granted, that is also Paramatman. The grantor is also Paramatman. That which is being granted, the wealth, that is also Paramatman. So wealth is to be respected and put to good use for oneself and also for others or the dependents who live around. So it has to be shared also, because the wealth itself is in the form of Paramatman. Hence it has to be respected and it has to be shared. The next interpretation to the term Vasu is आच्छादयत्यात्मस्वरूपं मायया iti. Mayayeti va vasuhu. The one who covers the nature of the Atman by Maya. So the term Vasu also has a verbal derivation. The root of it also indicates achadane. Achadanam is to cover. So the term Vasu, though it has an interpretation of wealth, by the verbal root, it also has the connection to the meaning achadane. Achadanam is to cover. So what is the covering? Maya. What is being covered? The Atma Swarupam, the pure conscious nature of each and every soul, that is being covered by Maya. Whose Maya? Vaishnavim Swam Mayam. So that's how in the Bhagavad Gita Upodghata, Acharya describes the Maya. So the Maya is also Vaishnavi Maya. So the Jivatmans are covered by the Maya of the Paramatman. Why is the Swarupa or the Atma Swarupa covered? Because of the Jivatma's karma, and by following the Vedantic path, by systematically doing Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, this Achadana or this covering can also be overcome and the pure conscious nature be realized. The third interpretation is Antariksha eva vasati nanyatreti asadharanena vasanena vayurva vasuhu. Vasurantarikshasat iti shrutehe. The one who stays only in the atmosphere in the form of Vayu. Hence, by having an extraordinary place of residence in the form of atmosphere. So, in the Vayu Swarupa, the Paramatman is described as Vasu. So, Vasati is also another uh, derivation where so stays. Vasati means to stay. So where is this? Where does this Paramatman stay? Or he stays in the atmosphere. In which form? As the Vayu. So the Vayu is the Antarikshadhi Devata. Agni is the presiding deity of earth. And Vayu is the presiding deity which resides in the atmosphere. And Aditya is the divinity for the Dyuloka. So Bhuloka is connected with Agni. The Antariksha Loka is connected with Vayu, which is governed by Vayu, and the Dyuloka or the Swarloka is governed by Aditya. So, being Vayu who stays in atmosphere, he is Vasu. So we see in the Upanishads also, Namaste Vayo Tumeva Pratyaksham Brahmasi. Vayu is one another great manifestation of Brahman, which is stated by the Upanishad themselves. And here also, Acharya quotes Kathopanishad, where Vasuhu Antariksha Sat. So Vasu refers to Vayu, which resides in the Antariksha, which is nothing but another divine glorious manifestation of Paramatman. So Vasu is Vayu. Vasu refers to the Paramatman who covers the nature of Atman with his Maya. And Vasu also simply is the wealth that is granted to the devotees by the Paramatman. Hence, three layers of meanings can be seen to this term Vasuhu. The seventh term is Naika Rupaha. Ekam Rupamasya na vidyata iti. The one who does not have one form. So the one who has manifold manifestations. Previously also we saw just now in the form of Vayu, in the form of Surya, in the form of Agni. So the one who is endowed with multifarious manifestations. So Naika Rupaha. Na eka rupaha or naika or aneka, many rupa form. Naika is many and rupa is form. So the one who has so many forms and so many manifestations, so many avataras to protect the shishtas, the pious, the noble, the good, and to remove the evil and the negativities. So to indicate the Naika Rupatva of the Paramatman having manifold manifestations, various quotations are given by Acharya from Shrutis and Smritis. Indro Maya Bhihi Pururupayate. The Paramatman is Indra with his Maya Pururupa. So many forms he assumes in the Brihadaranyaka. Then Jyotimshi Vishnu, all the celestial forms, the lights, the multifarious celestial beings that we see, all the forms of light, all the divinities are nothing but Vishnu. To that we find a reference from the Vishnu Purana, Jyotimshi Vishnu. So Naika Rupaha, the one with many manifestations, many avatars. The eighth term is Brihadrupaha. Brihan Mahadvarahadi Rupamasyeti. The one who has great forms like Varaha and others. So Brihat and Rupa. Brihat is Mahat, great, immense. So Rupa forms. So in various avatars, we see that the form that the Bhagavan takes is immense, is imposing. In the Varaha avatara, he took the form of a very great and immense Varaha to lift up the entire Bhumi. And even in the Vamana avatara, initially though he takes form of a small child, again, there we see the Vishwarupa, Brihadrupa. In Varahavatara, we see the Brihadrupa. In Vamanavatara, we see the Brihadrupa. And even in the Krishnaavatara, in so many occasions, we see the Vishwarupa Darshana of Bhagavan Narayana. So he is termed, glorified, celebrated as Brihadrupaha, the one with immense, great form. The ninth term is Shipi. There are a couple of interpretations here. Shipayaha, Pashavaha, Teshu Vishati, Pratitishthati, Yajnarupeneti. Yajno vai Vishnuhu, Pashavashipihi, Yajna eva Pashushu Pratitishthati. So, Shipi refers to animals, the one who enters them and is established in them in the form of yajna. He is Shipivishta. So, in the term Shipivishta, we have two components, Shipi and Vishta. Shipi is according to the Vedic mantra that was just narrated or chanted, Pashavashipihi. Pashus or the animals are denoted by the term Shipi. And Vishtaha, Acharya says, Teshu Vishati Pratitishthati Yajna Rupena. So, in the form of Yajna, the one who enters and is established in the animals or the Pashus, he is Shipi Vishta. So there are a couple of ideas related to it. This is a Vedic terminology, Shipi Vishtaha. So in Vedic rituals, the Pashus are offered, and by the proper offering of the Pashus, uh, the uh, the benefit that is desired is achieved. So the entire yajna, the ritual, is established in the pashus, the way in which the pashus are offered. So the yajna, entire yajna is centered around on the pashus. Hence, the yajna is established in Pashus, and that yajna is not different from Vishnu. Vishnu himself is yajna, and as the yajna is established in the Pashus, so the Bhagavan being established in the Pashus, in the yajna swarupa, is denoted by the term Shipivishta. This is in the Vedic context. And to have another point of view on this, we can see that yajna, the meaning of yajna as defined by the Vedas themselves is yajno hi shreshtatamam karma. Yajna is the best among the activities that can be performed. Shreshtatama karma. So what is the Shreshtatama karma that can be performed? Paropakara, offering to others, foregoing one's own ownership. So that is yajna. Agnaye swaha, agnaya idan namama. So this is the spirit of yajna, offering, serving others without having any expectation for oneself. And this is yajna. And this yajna is quite naturally established in the beings or in the animals that we see around. A famous shloka we see, paropakaraya duhanti gavaha. So the animals or the cattle that live around us, why do they live? So they serve us or they help us without expecting anything in return. So that idea of paropakara, which is yajna, is naturally established in the pashus, in the animals. So one has to look around and try to learn from them. So Bhagavan as yajna, as a paropakara murti, is established in animals like cow. Hence, he is a Shipi Vishta. So, the idea of serving others without expectation can also be derived. Even the vrikshas, why the animals? Even the vrikshas, paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaah, paropakaraya vahanti nadyah, paropakaraya duhanti gavah. So the entire activity of serving others without any expectation is the spirit of yajna, and wherever the spirit of yajna is, that is Paramatman. This yajna is found in the nadi, this yajna is found in the vrikshas or the trees, and this yajna is found in Gomata, the cow, the pashu, which is the shipi. Hence Paramatman is glorified as Shipi Vishta, the one who resides in the form of Yajna in the Pashus. So, hence, finally, as the last pada of the shloka says, Paropakarartham idam shariram. By contemplating upon the yajna that is present in the animals, in the trees, in the rivers, we should also aspire to become Shipi Vishtas. We should also bring in the idea of yajna and nurture it in our heart and express it through our actions. That is the beautiful message which is conveyed by the term Shipi Vishta. There is another interpretation to this term given by Acharya. He says, Shipayaha, Rashmayaha, Teshu Nivishtaha itiva. Shipi refers to the race and the one who has entered them. So, the Paramatman is all pervasive, and as he is in the Aditya Mandala, so we meditate upon the Paramatman or Lord Narayana in the uh, Savitra Mandala Madhyavarti. So in the Aditya Mandala, Narayana, Bhagavan Narayana is meditated upon. He does not exist only in the Aditya Mandala. He has also permeated in the rays that come and touches and blesses with light energy, and also they symbolize knowledge. So the one who has entered into the rays of light also is Paramatman. So that is also indicated by the term Shipi Vishta. The 10th term is Prakashanaha. Sarvesham Prakashanashilatvat Prakashanaha. The one who makes one and all shine. The one who makes everyone shine. Sarvesham Prakashanashilatvat. This light of consciousness, everyone shine, everyone are active, everyone or everyone is doing his own duty or his own work, or is able to move around because of the light of consciousness that is present within. So by giving the light of consciousness, by being the light of consciousness, he enlightens, enlivens every entity in this universe. Hence the Paramatman is glorified as Prakashanaha. So with these 10 terms in the 29th verse, we have thus far completed 275 namas. Om Tat Sat, Shri Krishnarpanamastu.